Well, this may be the only film in the series where Freddy doesn't call anyone a bitch. So there's that. Jamie,
Okay.
let's go watch A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. Here we are. It's myself, Jamie Lorello, the other part of this podcast, DP McCambridge. Here, as we are, many times before, many times again, will be talking about movies from the 1980s, the glorious decade of the 80s. And all their wonderful movies that were made.
Sure.
The cinema of the 80s, if you will.
Yeah. I think you just said 80s about 80 times in that intro. And I think something needs to be celebrated.
A celebration.
This is the last sequel. This is it, folks.
So long sequels.
If you have been on this ride with us since
wow.
the
Was it Police
1st
Academy
of
too?
June, the first week of June, I think is when we started this. So it's been nothing but sequels, nothing but twos or Roman numeral twos or TOO
Yes.
or TWO.
Yeah, all those.
And now
They were coming at you.
we wrap it up. And we wrap
now
it
we
up
close the book on two.
with something that people have seen, I think. I mean, I'm not saying nobody's seen Slumber Party Massacre 2. There are diehards out there that have seen it. I didn't
Sure.
realize it until I posted our episode into some horror pages on Facebook. And people are quoting lyrics to songs from that movie.
Wow.
Yeah. One guy posted, he was just like, I love that song. And my response was, what song?
Yeah.
About an hour later, he writes back and he's like, I forgot how much damn music there is in that movie. So
Yeah,
I don't know if he
yeah.
watched it in the meantime or what.
Oh, maybe the song that she wrote?
No, I think he was referring to the Driller Killer song.
Oh, or
Yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We already talked about it. And if you want to listen to us talk about Slumber Party Massacre 2, just jump back in time 2 weeks, one episode, and you can listen to us talk about that.
If you missed any of the twos, go back and check them out.
Yeah. You want to start
You know
Police
what?
Academy 2? Go for it.
There's sequels. Listen to them twice, maybe. Maybe you get something different the second time.
Yeah.
You know? You don't know.
Maybe our thoughts on the movie changed the second time. Who knows?
That's impossible because these are recorded episodes, but you don't know.
Wait, are you saying I shouldn't have gone back and at the end of our Slumber Party Massacre,
tweaked a
I
little?
shouldn't have dubbed myself in as you going, I loved it.
Just like that, guys. Well, now I have to say, and I don't want to give too much away about my feelings on this movie.
Sure. We haven't even mentioned the movie.
No.
Do it.
So after watching this movie, I have a better appreciation for Slumber Party too.
Oh my. Okay. All right. You know what? And I mean, when you say you don't want to reveal, you weren't crazy about that. So I think you totally revealed it. Yeah. So very quickly, before we get into this, if people want to hear me on another podcast talking about another horror movie.
You're such a podcast slut. I love it. You're all over the place.
Yeah,
It's
I'll go
delicious.
anywhere.
Yeah.
It is a 90s movie podcast
Oh, fun.
called Film Shake. And I was on to talk about two horror movies from the 90s.
Oh,
One, the super cheesy movie called Mosquito, about giant mosquitoes who kill people.
sounds deadly.
It's kind of as good as it sounds, which is terrible, but also fun and not like
Yeah,
fun.
because they're a
terrible.
giant mosquito. How big can a mosquito get to kill someone?
They're like as big as your dog.
And they can kill? Like, are they because of their size and their strong
Yes.
sting, or are they have
well,
weapons?
they need that much blood, so they kind of just, I guess,
Makes
deflate
sense.
you of
So
all of
they're
your
like-
blood.
deflate the blood.
Well, I guess when all of your blood is taken out, don't you deflate? Isn't that what
Oh,
Hot Shots
okay.
taught me?
Yeah, okay, you're right. Lesson learned.
Okay.
Oh, medicine.
But the real reason I was on that was just a warm up to the real movie we talked about, which was Peter Jackson's The Frighteners,
Oh.
starring Mikey J.
Mikey J. Fox. I did like The Frighteners. And who doesn't love a little Mikey J?
Yeah, it was interesting to revisit because it ended up not being as good as I remember it being. It suffers from things that have been
cheesy.
Cheesy, kind of like casually racist, like really weird. Yeah, weird things. The effects are still pretty good, but the movie's very long and bloated. But not to give away my feelings, which I just did.
Okay.
Go to Film Shake, check out their most recent podcast. Again, they're a 90s movie podcast. So if you've had enough of these 80s and you just need something to change it up.
Change up the decade, yeah.
And it's only a once a month podcast. You can really, it's not going to fill up your podcast player. Go in, check it out. It's pretty fun.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds really fun. Nice.
Yeah. And I realized we've been doing this podcast for 6 years now, and this is like our first foray into the big horror icons. Like we haven't done a Jason movie. We haven't done a Freddy movie till now. We haven't seen Leatherface of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No.
We haven't seen, can you name any others? I can't think of any
Is
more.
Poltergeist count as one of those?
We haven't met the Poltergeist from Poltergeist. We haven't seen a Chucky. There's not a Chucky.
Oh, yeah, there's not a Chucky.
I feel like I'm missing a big one that I'll remember later and I'll regret it. But yeah, we haven't done any of these like extensive, crazy franchises, which the majority of all of them, I think, were in the 1980s.
And we somehow skimmed right under them. Well, we're good. We're like a skimmer anyway of 80s films.
You know how skimmers skim under things? The best skimmers out there just avoid things. Like they avoid the bugs in the pool. Mosquitoes, if you will. We're like a really terrible skimmer with giant holes in it. And everything just falls through.
But then you get some stuff like the beautiful moth that you're like, what? And then it died in the water.
I would have, if I was all about Freddy, I would have never found this beautiful moth called Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Exactly.
But we're here talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2.
Yes.
Freddy's Revenge.
He needs a revenge. Something happened in the first one where revenge has to happen. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
For people that saw it, they would know that something happened. And even for you, they're telling you right there, he needs revenge. Something happened in the first one.
Yeah, right away. We're off to a vengeful start. Revengeful start.
Right. So let me just give you, I don't know how many of our listeners might need a recap, but let me give you a recap of the first one very quickly, because they do allude to it. This isn't just a one-off sequel that has nothing to do with the first one, because it takes place in the same house.
Okay.
They find our main protagonist's diary at some point.
So that is her diary from the first one. Okay.
Yes. Played by the wonderful Heather Langenkamp. Now, Heather Langenkamp is known for two things. I might be giving her too much credit here, but she's known for the Nightmare on Elm Street series because she's in more than just the first one.
Okay, good for her.
But Jamie, you may know her as one of the 10 of us from Just the 10 of Us.
Just the 10 of us.
She was like the nerdy, kind of smart daughter. She wore glasses.
Yeah.
She wasn't like the blonde slut. Was she slutty?
No, I
don't
remember her.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so that's sort of where...
Didn't she wear a lot of poet shirts?
A lot of what?
Poet shirts?
I don't know what that means. Like shirts with just poetry written all over it?
No, but like with ruffles in weird places and long
probably.
sleeves.
Listen, for as much of a fan of Growing Pains as I was, Just the 10 of Us, I didn't make that jump. I didn't follow that gym teacher into whatever his life was about.
Okay.
So I know she was on it, but I couldn't tell you a single episode of that.
No wardrobe details. That's fine. Okay.
I can tell you so many episodes of Growing Pains, though. Stay tuned for a new podcast where I just talk about Growing Pains.
It's really fun.
By myself.
Mr. Seaver with Mike and
yeah.
Boner. We've talked about Boner a lot on this.
We have
on this podcast.
Yeah, we thought Boner was in Teen Wolf 2, and then we talked about his dad in Star Trek 2. So, anyway, so in that one, he's basically, so here's the thing, and here's what they didn't quite explore in the second one, because they assume you saw the first one. So Freddy Krueger, he murdered a bunch of children. They make very clear. They never say the word child molester or rapist. Like, they're just like, he was a kid killer, but we know what that means. And then all the parents in the town like got together and burned him for murdering
killing
their
the
kids.
kids.
And then what he decided to do somehow is kill their children then
Okay.
in their dreams.
So he comes back
Yes.
as not necessarily an apparition or a ghost, but he comes back through their dream. Now, is he supposed to be from hell with all this fire
Don't know.
these weird creatures at the factory?
I don't know how much of that is hell or the fact that he was burned to death, so maybe he just is like stuck in this
Like
hellish
purgatory
landscape,
heat.
or
Okay.
he just likes fire a lot now. I'm not sure.
Okay.
They don't make that clear. But yes, and in the end, the Heather Langenkamp character ends up killing him and winning the day. But then not really, because much like this movie, it ends with her being like, oh, cool, my friends aren't really dead. Let's all get in this car together. And the car's like a convertible, but the top comes up, and the top is like the red and green striped sweatshirt. And it just like drives off, and they're screaming. Yeah. So
Creepy.
much like this movie ends. But that's how the first one ended, which kind of leads into this, I guess, a little bit. Maybe.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that backstory is
And-
important to have.
Was Johnny Depp the hot boyfriend that she was watching?
Oh, yes, across the...
Yes.
She watched her
Okay.
boyfriend murdered across the street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he is murdered in that movie in such an amazing fashion. He's asleep on his bed, and Freddy's hands come up under the bed and pull him in, and also everything that's on the bed. Like, he's got a TV there and everything, and it all goes down into a hole, and then, like, a geyser of blood gushes out of this hole onto this. And then the cops are there, and they just have buckets around, like, with all the blood
Oh,
dripping in.
man.
Yeah.
Buckets of blood to clean up. Wow.
Yeah, so basically Freddy kills you in your sleep, but if he kills you in your sleep, you die in real life. I think that's all anybody needs to know. If you're not familiar with Nightmare on Elm Street, that's the gist of it.
Okay. But so the difference in this one, a big difference, is Freddy does come to this guy in his sleep, but he literally gets inside of him, like possesses him. And that is not the case in the others.
No.
So Freddy is just Freddy coming to you in dream world.
Right.
But in this one, Freddy actually gets up inside of Jesse. Like literally, Jesse is like...
Yeah, like literally, like you don't
Yeah.
know at times, is Freddy killing people as Freddy, or is he using this kid as a vessel to kill people, or what's happening? And that's the other thing about this movie. I don't think Freddy has an issue with Jesse. Like, his family just moved here. Like, his parents didn't kill him. So
No.
I guess Freddy's just like, listen, I got to kill more kids in this neighborhood, I guess. So I need your help to do it because... I don't know, does nobody else sleep? Like, I don't quite understand why Freddy needs this kid, but he kind of does.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Because this opens with a little school bus ride.
A little school bus ride, which was a nice little... Did you ever take the school bus in school? You had to.
took
have.
the school bus a
school
lot
bus?
in school. Yes, until I had a car, I took the school bus. He seems a little old to be taken. I don't want to say old to be taking a school bus, but we see later he's got a car.
Yeah. But
and
this
it's
isn't him in the beginning.
Oh, that's totally him.
The
You mean
nerdy
him
guy?
dressed as a nerd? Yes.
Crying and everything at the window?
Yes.
I was
I-
confused because he looked different when he was the nerd, and I was like, was that just a separate story about Freddy's adventures with some other group of kids, and now, and that's why again I didn't know if this first scene here on the school bus was what happened in the first Freddy.
Gotcha. Okay, I can
And
see the confusion then.
They looked kind of similar, but he looked different.
He looked really different
Right?
because they like
Okay.
squiggy him all up. Like his hair's all
Yes,
matted
hair's
down and
greased
slicked back.
down.
He's
Mhm.
literally got a pocket protector on, so you're
Yeah.
right. It's almost like in his dreams, he's way more of a nerd than he is in real life, which is
Yeah.
a weird way to dream because so this school bus goes and everybody's getting dropped off until it's he and these two rando girls that aren't
Yes.
even in this movie, which I thought was weird too because I loved how he goes down in a little bit for the girl that he's driving to school, and her back is to us, and she turns around. I was like, I thought the reveal was going to be that she was one of the girls on this bus.
Girls from the bus, yeah. But no, these girls we don't see again.
But they do make fun of him. Like, they're kind of mean. When it's just the three of them left, they look back and go, look who it is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Isn't he on your bus all the time? Like, why is this surprising?
But he is he's quiet and nerdy and weird in the back. So that's another thing. I thought this was like Freddy's revenge on anyone that would laugh at a nerd. I thought, well, maybe Freddy was a nerd back in the day. And so
that's kind of another thing where he's not really picked on. He's picked on by one guy, and they end up being BFFs forever.
Yeah, they're pals. He's the guy he goes to, and he's like, you got to protect me. Yeah.
And it would make way more sense if Freddy was like, hey, you want revenge on all these people that are picking on you all the time? Like, let's do it, buddy.
Yes,
but no,
exactly.
Nobody's giving this kid a hard time at all.
Not enough for him to make this Freddy transition.
Yeah, even when he gets knocked down at that baseball game, like, I don't know how many people come to his rescue, and they're like, are you all right? You all right, man? Like, everybody loves this kid.
And how come the kid's always fighting with his dad? And I wondered why. Well, I guess because Freddy's more after kids. Because they kill the coach, but why not try to kill his dad?
Well, his dad only wants him to clean his room. Like, that's it. The dad is so hung up on having this room cleaned and unpacked.
Yeah,
it is
wants it
wild.
done.
Like,
yeah.
I don't understand. The dad also does blame him for killing the bird. I could talk about that bird scene for the entirety of this podcast. So he's on the school bus, and the school bus speeds past the one girl's stop. And she's like, hey, bus driver, man, that's my stop. And the bus just like off-roads it into the desert.
Next thing we know, we're in the middle of the desert. We were just in this residential suburb.
It's like he just takes a turn. You're like in the middle of the desert suddenly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I never knew that watching a school bus off-road in the desert was something I kind of wanted to see, but I kind of really enjoyed watching this because it seemed like it could tip over at any moment.
It just goes plowing through. He's going as fast as he can, just speeding through. And the ground, being desert ground, is starting to get a little shakier, a little more.
Yep. As the desert does. If you don't know, the desert is clearly a gateway to hell, just to let everybody know.
If you've ever been there in the summer, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So the ground opens up, and then they're just like on this big stalactite, like a big pillar over fires of hell. Like there's just fireballs all over the place.
And again, I thought he drove them to hell. I thought that's where they were. I think
we're supposed to think that because the outside is just red. Like everything is red now. Mm-hmm. We do see that Freddy is driving the school bus.
Yes.
In his cool little hat and his fun little sweatshirt and his glove with razor blades coming off of the fingers.
He loves to tap those little fingers too. Tap them on the seats. Tap them on the ceiling.
With what you got.
You do, I guess. You do. I would do more of that exposure. Like when later on when he tells Jesse, like, you're the looks and I'm the brain, and then shows him like his brain. I'm like, you need to do shit like that to people. Don't just work those scary fingers. That's the slicer, sure, but your whole face is really horrifying. You should really lead with that.
Don't cover it up with that hat, buddy. What are you doing? Hanging out in the shadows in like a fun Christmas sweater? Like,
no, man.
What are you doing? It should be knives and look at my whole body's burned.
And a vest,
Don't wear
maybe a sleeveless vest. Try that.
With studs on it, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
Dress like that gym teacher. That would be terrifying if I saw this guy running at me. A gloved hand, a bald guy burned all over his body in like a leather vest. I would love that. So Freddy's driving the bus, he slices at them and stuff like that, and then we see this kid who's not as big a nerd as he is in his dreams wake up and screams. He's
the worst scream. The worst.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I can't even. Later, his friend Brady, I'm not sure, the jerky guy screams, and I'm like, what a stronger scream!
Right.
When he screams for his dad, there's a couple of times when Jesse wakes up from the dream or is downstairs checking the boiler room, and he screams for his dad, and his dad doesn't respond because it was such a terrible scream. Later on, Grady's dad is like right there at the door. What do you need, son? Let us in. Because Grady screamed like a real,
Grady,
I'm scared.
This is your father. Do you have to announce yourself to your own kid? So I think it's hilarious because he wakes up with this blood-curdling, no offense, but very girly, very feminine scream.
It was.
And it cuts to his family eating in the kitchen, looking up and going, well, sounds like he's awake. I'm like, aren't you terrified?
I love what his sister says. His sister says, Mommy, why can't Jesse wake up like everyone else?
Right. So this happens constantly.
Yeah. So he has these, and we get to experience them with him. I like to call them his sweaty nightmares, because obviously so much sweat.
So much sweat. Such a hot mood. Like, this is probably a great movie to watch in the winter. Like, you'll feel more
warm
cozy.
your bones. Yeah.
Do you like how his sister's eating Fu Manchus?
Oh, yeah, I love that. I wrote that down. Fu Manchus is her cereal of choice. Although, I guess because the prize in Fu Manchu is like some fake nails that she can put on.
Oh,
like fake.
I
Did you
didn't
see
even really
that?
notice that. Okay, so that's another like callback to Freddy there.
I guess, yeah.
Okay. It's
She had-
very
yeah.
funny. I thought that was hilarious. It was like, who are they marketing this to children? Who
Fu
would want to eat
Manchus?
this?
Yeah.
It's a very funny joke, I thought.
I
His
agree.
dad's played by Clu Gulager, who's like he's an actor that was in everything in the 70s. He's in every TV movie, real character actor. He seems a little old. These parents seem a little old to have a kid that's like, what do you
Yeah.
think that girl is, 8?
The little girl, yeah, she's a youngin'.
And I also don't like how he calls his wife mom. That's creepy. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I don't like that at all.
All right, you're not into this family dynamic. You're
Nope.
not.
Mm-mm.
No.
No, there's something very like Beaver Cleaver about this family. Like the mom looks like she should just be in a dress all day, and she's
Yeah.
always making food, making meals, and vacuuming and stuff. And the dad goes to an office, but we never see what these parents do or how they spend their time.
No, we don't know where they came from. We know they're mostly unpacked, except for Jesse's room. It's got boxes in it.
And that is one thing. First of all, I appreciate many things about this movie. You and we're going to disagree 100% at the end of this, I think.
Okay, all right.
But I am so happy that this movie doesn't start with like, well, I just moved in. Hey, you must be the new kid, blah, blah, blah. It's just like they've been there for a couple days, long enough for him to form some relationship with this girl.
She's really into him, too.
Long
Yeah.
enough for apparently teachers and students at this school to know who he is, but also to know that he's the new kid. Like, they don't have to go through all of that, and I
That
kind of
awkward
like that.
new. Yeah, you appreciated that. We got rid of that
Yeah,
part.
because he's in a hurry, has no time for breakfast, and he is meeting his friend Lisa.
Yeah, sweet Lisa. Well, he's not meeting her. He is driving her
Right.
in his beat-up automobile.
Hey, listen, a beat-up convertible is still a convertible. Yeah, I saw the rest of the cars in this high school parking lot. He shouldn't have anything to be ashamed of.
He's doing all right with his deadly dinosaur, as he calls it.
Yep. This actress, when
Yeah.
she turned around, did you think maybe it was a baby Meryl Streep?
Yes! Many times I thought it was like, Meryl Streep's daughter? No, that can't be. Yes, many times.
I
throughout this,
really
like,
had to
she
look
had-
and be like, maybe she's a niece or something.
Yeah.
No
No
relation
relation.
whatsoever. But the reveal almost makes you, like the fact that he opens the door and her back is to us. She turns around and just for a second, and I've seen this several times before. Just
Yeah.
for a second, I was like, Meryl Streep, what a reveal. No wonder she was turned around. Nope, it's just some actress.
Just an actress, just a little doppelganger.
So yeah, they have like a nice flirty banter, but not like overly sexual or anything. It's just kind of
No,
like,
she's very concerned about him too.
Yeah,
she's
right.
throughout the movie, her concern grows, but she just wants to get to know him. And in this very beginning, this very first scene, they're just kind of, it's just like you said, friendly, kind of simple flirting, nothing too hot and heavy,
right.
nothing too awkward. She even makes mentions to her friends who are very much like, did you get laid? Did you get boned?
Yeah.
She's very much like, well, he's just a friend. He drives me to school.
Yeah. Yeah, she almost is like this doofus, I'm using him for his
Yeah,
wheels.
yeah,
Like,
you're almost not sure if
okay.
she, yeah, yeah. But then she comes in the next few scenes. You see how she does really care.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know about your PE gym classes,
Yeah,
but
ask me about my PE gym classes, because none of this was even close.
archery and baseball, all in the field.
All like together. It
Yeah.
appears as though they're firing arrows 2 feet from where these guys are playing
Yeah.
baseball.
Yep.
It does not seem safe at all.
No.
He's playing baseball. Gets a hit. Oh, no, wait. He's playing defense. And one of the, like, this guy who, I don't know if we're supposed to think he's like a cool jock or what? This Grady character? He hits the ball and then he's tagged out by Jesse. And in retaliation, this dude totally pantses him. Like, just broad
Totally ass.
daylight,
Yep.
pantsing ass out. I don't know if he's wearing any underwear or what the
No, you
situation
do see.
is.
We do see this later on when Jesse sleeps, and maybe it's because of the excessive heat in his home. He likes to sleep in his tidy whities.
So much underpants in this movie.
I do think that when he pulled it down, there's a little bit of tidy whitey there,
Yep.
but there's full booty flesh exposed.
Yeah, and all the girls see it, and I like how you just hear a voiceover of the one girl going, "Nice ass, though."
Yeah.
That's it.
It's important to know. It's important to know, you know?
Yeah.
But a brawl breaks out after that because you can't just pant someone and think he's going to get away from it. So they kind of, he fist fights with this guy, and then the coach pulls them apart, and now they're left to do push-ups on the field for
Who
rest
knows
of the
how
day,
long?
I
Don't
guess.
they
I
have a
don't
class to get to or something?
You would think, right?
Because this gym teacher's like, that's it, guys. Do a bunch of push-ups. You're here forever. Now hit the showers. I'm like, everyone else is like 3 periods ahead, and they're still at the gym.
They got to get those push-ups in. That's what happens when you pant someone and start fights.
Yeah. Oh, well, the this Grady guy does mention, because suddenly now they're best friends, that the gym teacher, he's a little weird. He goes to quote-unquote queer S&M joints downtown. So I don't know. And also at this point, he does find out that his parents have basically moved into a haunted house where someone
Grady
was
with the
murdered.
info.
Someone committed suicide. And this girl's boyfriend was killed across the street.
Right. The girl went crazy. The mom committed suicide, right?
Right. Mom committed suicide. Girl's crazy. Girl's boyfriend murdered across the street.
Just bad news bears. And he's like, wait, what? In my house?
Wait, you're saying he wears a glove on his hand?
Yeah.
But thankfully, no one else seems to know who Freddy Krueger is.
No.
None of these kids have any idea. None of these kids are like, you know, that girl who used to live there, she ran around the school a whole lot yelling about some guy killing her friends.
Whereas, what was that movie what was the prom movie we watched where everyone knew about Mary Lou? It was years ago, and people were like, oh yeah, Mary Lou.
Well, we know why. It was probably the principal. Every morning announcements, he'd be like, this
alive.
is why I have this job. This is my purgatory. That night, again, we're treated to another dream. I get, like, I was really confused about the dreams in this, because sometimes it seems like a dream, and other times he's clearly brought home by the police.
Right,
and he's
right.
naked. Like,
Yeah.
like, that wasn't a dream.
Does it start as a dream? Because he even at one point says, I am sleepwalking. I feel like I'm sleepwalking. He confesses to one of them. I don't know. He tells both the girl and his Grady friend.
Yeah. He really opens up to Lisa at one point to where she's like, I am very concerned for your mental health.
Well, she's so funny because her take on all of it when he opens up is that maybe he's got some psychic abilities because of what happened.
Immediately, because she's like, hey, let me take you to this abandoned place
Tell me
downtown.
if you get any vibes.
Like an abandoned
anything?
electric factory downtown. And she's even like, do you feel anything? Do you have any feelings? I'm like, where are you getting this from,
What do you
lady?
think this is? Like the paranormal activity? What's happening here?
Yeah, she's like, I got the next Mrs. Cleo in my hands. We're going to make a buttload of cash.
We're going. Can you talk to him? What is he saying, huh? Where is he?
So he wakes up and he's very sweaty. He's very underpants clad, where, you know, you can see everything going on under those underpants.
Like, yeah.
This movie is in love with this guy basically wearing nothing, because he's constantly shirtless. Like,
Yeah.
even when he walks around the house, it's just in a shirt that isn't buttoned all the time.
Right. Well, you know what? He's not getting a lot of sleep, so
Right. And it's very
he can't
hot.
be bothered. Yeah, he can't be bothered to button up. But no, when he has this, whether it's a nightmare or whatever, he sees somebody out in his yard, kind of follows them, sees them go maybe into the basement, and when he tries to open the basement door, like a hand pulls the door shut. And this is, like I said, he screams for his dad at this point. Dad doesn't come. That's when Freddy appears, right?
Right,
and
yeah.
gives
I
him
usually
this
want to
message.
cut to Clue Gulliger in bed being like, oh, jeez, this again? I'm not getting up. Not this time. Happens
All
every
he
night.
does, he screams like a freaking girl. I'm not helping him.
I thought it would be easier if we moved, but apparently we moved into a haunted house. It might get worse. I have
Whoops.
no idea
Whoops.
now. That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, what were his dreams like before he moved into the Freddy house? Like, like he woke up screaming all the time, I guess. Like maybe where they used to live
I
too?
guess.
Just
No,
the way the sister was like, why can't he wake up like
Yeah,
a normal person?
yeah. I think they started maybe when they moved there.
All right, so
I
they've been
wanna
there
say.
like a week or two, and he's been
Yes.
screaming every night.
Yes.
All right, yes.
Yeah.
But you're right in that he turns around and Freddy's there, and he's like, "Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
you're super cool." And so he like caresses his face with his knife glove
Uh-huh.
and stuff. And he even says, "He's like, hey, I need your body, man. We're like two
Yeah.
peas in a pod."
I'm the brains, you're the body.
Yep. And
Yeah.
this is when he rips the skin off to expose a brain. He's got no skull there. It's just
Yeah.
skin and brain.
Gross. It's gross. Again, lead with that, Freddy. People will
Right.
freak the fuck out. But no, cover up with your hat. So you
And
look-
that's it. Screams, bad nightmare.
Mm.
We don't spend a lot of time in school in this movie, but
Well,
suddenly
because it's a weird school.
you just mean that the gym teacher appears to run the entire school. Oh, okay. This
The
is.
anatomy teacher.
I was gonna say because now we're in a science class where he fall. This is when I wasn't sure what's a dream and what's not because he falls asleep. I'm ready for Freddy again.
Right.
But instead, we get a gigantic, like, white python
Mm-hmm.
that is wrapping around him. All the kids in this class are looking at him laughing. And I'm like, oh, they're just laughing because he's asleep. No, there's really a giant snake
Yeah.
around him.
I think it belongs to the teacher of the class who also had a giant, like, cow heart. I don't know.
Just plops this cow
Takes it out
down.
of his desk like he had a highlighter to show the class or something.
Kind of like it's just he's got a bunch of them in a drawer, and this was the one he pulled out today, and it's just he plops it down so casually, like, yep, kind of looks like a human heart, pretty
Yeah.
much the same thing. And the kids are so grossed out, and his attitude about everything is so cavalier, especially when he goes over to Jesse, who wakes up with a snake around his
Yeah,
neck trying to
yeah.
murder him, and he's like, "Oh, you want to play with snakes? Do it on your own time, kid." I'm like.
Yep.
That's your wild animal that escaped somehow.
That
and
is-
you're giving him shit about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, because then he just carries it away like, come on, little sneaky pal. What's going on?
How did
Yeah.
you get out of your tiny tank that probably the lid wasn't put on correctly? This wasn't even a nightmare now. Now we're just, it's a shot of him sleeping. Like, that's it.
Well, it's showing you how little sleep he's getting, which I like. That everyone starts to notice. His girlfriend Lisa starts to notice, like, wow, it was so rough night, and he starts to get more and more agitated. I like when he just goes for the coffee too in the morning when his mom's like, "Oh, you look better today," and
You
he's
look,
like,
you look
"Ugh."
like you got a lot of sleep. Nope, just
Yeah.
taking a hell of a lot of drugs, Mom.
Yeah.
Just taking mouthfuls of pills at night so I don't go to sleep.
Stay ups.
I can't wait to get to the part where they're in the cafeteria and his
Friends eating with a mouthful, and
This guy's
does not say
choice
one
for this
line
scene
without
is,
food in
I
his
am
mouth.
delivering every line with a mouthful of food. I don't
like the
care.
first line was kind of funny and clever, and then he's like, "I'm just gonna go with it. Go with it for the whole cafeteria scene. It's what you do."
It's almost like he took a huge bite for one scene, you know, one angle, and they're like, well, now we have to shoot it for more angles. You have to, and he's like, I can't swallow it. I'll be so full. So for everything, he just has a
He just
mouthful
kept it
of
in
food.
there.
It's
And at
really
first
great.
it is funny, but then it becomes obnoxious and stupid,
Yeah.
and we just want him to swallow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's at home at night, and he calls up his little buddy. He calls up Lisa. He's like, "Hey, Lisa, like I'll pick you up and we can go do something." And as he tries to go out, his dad's like, "You said you'd unpack that room. It's not unpacked." "But Dad, no, get upstairs. Dad." I love how he stomps upstairs.
When he
like a
gets
big
upstairs, he goes,
baby.
He literally hoofs into the room.
Oh.
But hey, it doesn't last. His anger doesn't last long because he puts on some tunes. And this was one of my favorite scenes when he starts dancing and cleaning his room
100%.
and shaking his booty and putting on sunglasses.
The best part of this movie. This is a
so good.
famous part of this. Like, this is the reason anybody talks about this movie is this scene, because it's so strange. And so when he puts on those sunglasses and snaps and just like music starts playing, when he closes the drawer with his butt,
with his booty,
it's so great.
And then he's got this little dance he's doing. You wanted to see more.
I wanted
did.
to see a ton.
You wanted it to keep going.
Yeah,
but his mom opens the door.
Oh,
and he's there with.
He's like on his knees on the bed, like thrusting against.
Yeah, what is that
like,
that he's got in his hand?
I don't know. It's like a popper. I don't even know what it is because it like pops.
Yeah.
Just right as his mom and this girl walk in.
Yeah.
Or the music is barely turned up. Like you could barely hear this song, and his mom's got her fingers in her ears, like she can't stand this racket. And he is understandably embarrassed by all of this.
Totally, yeah.
As you should be.
But she doesn't seem, she kind of chuckles, and then I like it. He's like, I'm cleaning my room. She goes, I know. I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
So
it's
together.
so nice of her. It's so nice of her. And it really is like a cute, like, I guess, developing relationship between these two.
Sure.
I feel like we talked last time about Slumber Party Massacre, how their relationship was 0 to time to get down in like 0 to boyfriend and girlfriend in the course of an afternoon.
Yeah.
These two take a little bit of time. And like she's clearly into him and he's, I guess, into her, maybe happy to have somebody around.
He's just afraid he's going to kill her once he realizes what's happening to him. He's talk about having attachment issues. He's really afraid to get close to her because,
I mean, justifiably so.
Yeah, I
if you're afraid that you've already murdered a couple people, maybe
you don't want to go falling in love. Yeah,
or at least sleeping.
She helps him clean the room, and in helping him clean the room, in the closet she finds a diary.
Nancy's diary, and they start reading like hot, steamy passages.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it starts out. Well.
Yeah, it starts out with like, oh, Johnny Depp, he lives across. I don't want to go over and take his shirt off, but boy, I really want to. And then he like flips ahead like 3 years in this diary, and it's like, oh, this guy named Freddy Krueger's after me, and he's got knife hands.
Yes, yes.
And this is his first clue that like, oh, yeah, that bus driver dream I had, that's this guy.
Yeah,
and this place is
Freddy.
pretty
This
creepy.
sounds familiar. Yeah, yeah. And then he puts it together. Oh, this was what Grady was telling me about. That there was. So yeah, it's all coming together. I think she talks about the boiler room and all of it.
Yeah, she really lays a lot on him. And at school the next day, he's telling her about his dream, but they're interrupted by her friend who does not get enough screen time. I love friends in these movies. They don't do enough with this girl. She's not even a character. But she's like, hey, Lisa, you having a party like last year? I hope your dad's not the DJ. That was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And so she's having this big shindig over the weekend. Apparently hasn't told Jesse about it. And also, I don't know, a high school party with the parents at home? That's a big no thanks for me.
It's a big no. Well, they do. I mean, those parents go to bed, I guess, in a half sound. No, they hear what's going on.
They hear what's going on, but even the mom's like, they're kids, let them have them. And instantly, like, coolers filled with beer come out. Like, it's really fun.
Yeah. She does have a great house for a party. She's got a big pool in her backyard.
Yeah, a nice fence so nobody can escape if anything bad happens.
Okay, thinking that way, I like it.
So the gym teacher, this is another scene where they're in the locker room getting changed again. And suddenly they're kind of like best buddies and stuff. And they're making fun of the gym teacher behind his back. And I love how he just calls them dirt balls. He's like, all right, dirt balls, you know what to do. And they're back to the push-ups again. Yeah, but they grow up, like you said, they have a bond through this. Yeah. But now, if the dancing scene wasn't my favorite, and I think it might be, here's my second favorite because he's at home.
It's time to put the birds to bed.
Yeah. As we said earlier, when we were just recording for patrons, no one seems overly concerned that this house is as hot as it is.
And 97 degrees, like that's my house the other day was 78 because it's like weird weather here where it's like it's cold in the morning and then it gets warm and I want the windows open, but then it gets too warm and suddenly you're like, oh, I'm sweating indoors and there's no breeze. It's 97 degrees. Like, how long did it take this family? This poor little girl.
And like you said earlier, the girl is mainly concerned that these birds are trying to sleep. It is the birds' bedtime, apparently.
Yeah.
Because Jesse's even like, it's hot here. And his sister's like, Jesse, shut your mouth. The birds are sleeping.
The birds are sleeping. The birds are sleeping. Then the dad does look at the thermostat. That's how we know it's 97 degrees. He's like, oh, fine. It is hot in here. Because all the other times he's like, it's not that hot. And Jesse's like, there's something wrong with the heat in this house. And the dad's like, no, just heat perfectly fine.
Well, these two are quite elderly. And we know how old people enjoy the heat.
So maybe they like it a little hotter. But yeah, it's 97 degrees and one bird just dies, just explodes. Right?
First of all, I get it. It's very hot. A bird died. They open the cage and one bird gets out and starts flying around. I love how this tiny parakeet has the power to knock over this lamp, which I can only assume weighs many pounds.
This parakeet goes nuts on them and is flying all around, basically trying to attack them. I was waiting for the parakeet to have like a claw, like with little sharp razors on it or something.
A tiny Freddy Krueger claw, and it just makes little scratches on their faces. I would totally love that. Or it just has his head with a hat on it.
Yeah.
That would be so great. But instead, this bird explodes in midair.
Yep.
And just as the heat doesn't seem to be a big deal, no one's freaked out by this except for Jesse.
They think it has to do with the heat in the house, I guess.
The dad's checking the gas line as though the gas specifically targeted a bird and blew it up.
And he's also blaming Jesse. He's like, you monkeyed with something here. You did this.
You killed the bird. Yeah, because even Jesse's mom's like, I don't think that's the gas. And he's like, I'm sure. I saw him with a cherry bomb, right? He probably. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy how little any of this. Later on, when the toaster explodes in flames, and the dad's reaction is,
not even plugged in.
That's kind of weird. It's not even plugged in. I'm like, get out of this haunted house immediately, you weirdos.
And that's right after Jesse's like, what the fuck, Dad? Why did you buy this haunted house? And the mom's like, what?
I was like,
the house is
how many people were killed here?
And he's like, I mean, it was just, we got a really good deal. Why do you think the deal was so good?
I love that so much. How the dad is just scanning. The housing catalogs are coming and he's just poring over these, being like, I need to find the word murder or suicide or something in here. That's all we can afford now.
It'll make for a great buy. This kid's already having some kind of nightmares. It can't get much worse.
So now, in a movie where everything has been so hot, he suddenly wakes up at night and it's apparently freezing cold. Goes downstairs, seems so, again, nonplussed when lightning goes in through the window and electrocutes all the dirty dishes in the sink. I expected it to be like, it'd be a great commercial for like some dish soap, which is like the cleaning power of lightning.
Oh yeah, like Dawn. Yeah.
So then Jesse in this dream, maybe, wanders off into town. I don't know how far he walked to get to this.
I don't know either.
S&M club.
Yeah, he's sweaty, he's overheated. And now he's in a sweaty, overheated club that's smoky. And
in his jammies, mind you, in his PJs, walks, I'm assuming barefoot into this, finds himself at the bar and immediately just goes, I don't know, give me a beer. The guy
gives it to him.
More than happy to oblige. Basically throws the glass at him, which I thought was kind of funny. And his good buddy gym teacher is there. And the gym teacher is so happy, like so pleased as punch to see this kid. Suddenly they're at the gym. Like, I don't know how they're getting anywhere. No. That's why I'm like, well, this is clearly a dream, right?
Right, because we don't have, because our time frame is all up and we're getting to a place where you're like, and then all of a sudden the gym teacher is making him do laps for
in the gym, just laps in the gym.
Yeah.
And again, the gym teacher wearing this leather studded tank top. I don't know what he's got on. Leather pants, probably, too. I'm
I
assuming.
mean, he's at the club, so why not? Yeah.
He makes him do laps, and then he's like, hit the showers, buddy. It's the middle of the night at this school, and this is what's happening.
And this is what the coach wanted. Yeah.
So while he takes a shower, and he seems to be enjoying himself in this shower, like he's really taking it all in. He's like, oh, the warm water, this is great. It's so chilly outside, or whatever.
I'm not sleeping, yeah.
I'm not This is better than screaming.
Yeah.
Better than being inside my sauna of a house, I guess. So while this is happening, the gym teacher is in his office being attacked by various balls.
All the equipment is the dodgeballs, the tennis balls, the baseballs, the racket breaks, the rackets, like the tennis rackets.
Oh, yeah,
apart.
like the little things, like the strings. Let's call them tennis racket strings, right?
The racket strings, sure.
Yeah, they're all breaking.
But yeah, he's getting attacked by balls. Now the teacher delicately put, or just deliberately, I guess, put a jump rope on his desk when he first came into his office. You're thinking maybe he was going to do something salacious, salacious.
Oh, of course.
Is that the right word?
Salacious.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's so delicious. It's salacious.
So delicious. I think it's delicious.
But this jump rope is used against this teacher.
Yes. He's basically, I guess, the invisible Freddy Krueger kind of grabs this. I think he has 2 jump ropes, and he basically
either hand is like, he's dragged by both hands
into the shower, kind of like hangs him up there by his arms.
Well, I love it because Jesse's in the shower, and all the other shower heads start to go on, and Jesse's face when they all turn on. This kid, by the way, he had to do some theater acting before he was in this.
Hey, you know a lot about this actor, don't you?
I don't, but I'm just assuming by his performance, it was like, so he reacts when all the showers go on, and then sure enough.
Well, listen, sure enough, meaning Freddy's going to kill this guy with his glove, of course. But before that, rips all his clothes off and
Naked.
just whips him with towels. Just whips his butt with towels
Getting
for a
little
while.
butt whipping, and red butt, and the whole time, this teacher too, his reaction is just no, just different levels of no.
Yeah, I don't know how I would react in this situation, but maybe with a bit more life behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you still don't know what's happening, but some invisible force has tied you up and is whipping your naked ass right now.
Yeah, I think you need to beg for your life a little more, like the rest of them do when they're faced with,
Yep. And then we see that he's sliced, like his back is sliced open with the glove. Then Jesse lifts up his hand, and he is wearing the glove.
Oh, how could it be? How could it be with the worst scream? Every time he screams, I write worst scream.
Yeah. Bad scream, very high pitched. And then suddenly we cut to his house, and his parents open the door, and the cops are like, "Is this naked boy yours? We found him outside."
He was walking on the
around.
freeway.
Yes.
They said, and I love this. So, and the one cop says, "I'd keep him on a short leash," and the parents are clearly like don't know what to think. Every time he's screamed from these nightmares, the mom is like, he needs to see a doctor. Something's going on psychologically. And the dad's been like, it's the drugs. And I love it because the cops bring him home. He's naked. They found him wandering. And the dad's like, I'm going to ask you 2 questions and then we're going to go to bed. What are you taking? And where are you getting it?
Right.
And I'm like, Dad, do you want some? Is that why you're asking? Because you feel so guilty about putting your family in a haunted house that you need some hard drugs?
I like later when he's talking to Lisa and he's like, my mom thinks I'm crazy, my dad thinks I'm on drugs, and I'm starting to believe them. I'm like, wait, starting to believe that you're on drugs? Wouldn't you know that? Like, wouldn't you know that?
I think you would.
That's the one you'd know. I get it. Crazy people don't know they're crazy. I get that. But you'd know if you're taking drugs.
I would think so, yeah.
So at school the next day, there's all sorts of hubbub because
the commotion.
The gym teacher really is dead.
Yeah, they found his body.
Yes, strung up in the gym, in the showers, just
in the
as
middle
it
of the
happened.
night. In the middle of the night, he was there too. So this shady.
you go to your S&M club, you bring whoever you pick up back to the high school gym, and you have
You
fun
don't know
there.
what's going to happen.
Right.
Question mark, ...
Yep.
Risque.
I assume this is what he does with all the dudes he picks up. He's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Here's what we do. You run laps, you take a shower, let me get some jump ropes, we'll figure it out. So he dreams of Freddy. He dreams of like the Freddy rhyme. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
yeah.
3, 4, that's in the first one. And then he opens up I guess it's his sister's bedroom door to find, and I just thought it was like a creepy little girl, but you're saying this is his sister jumping rope?
Yeah, I thought so.
All right.
I thought so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next morning.
And again, that's all part
Yeah.
of the dream. And in each dream now, Freddy is telling him, "You're going to kill for me. I want you to kill for me."
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Yes.
So the next morning, this is when he confronts his dad over buying a murder house.
He's like, "Dad, why would you buy?" And I love it because the mom really didn't know. He's like, "Mom, Dad, why would you buy a house that someone committed suicide? The girl went crazy and watched her neighbor across the street get murdered." And the mom's like, "Wait, what?"
Wait, hold on, back up. What's
Yeah.
going on here?
And the dad literally, as we said, is like, "Well, I mean, why do you think I get it for so cheap? And it came with the furniture, so I figured why not?"
It came with the furniture. Oh, that's so great. This is when the toaster explodes, and the dad goes, "Craziest damn thing I ever saw." And my thought is, you watched your parakeet explode yesterday. Shouldn't that be the craziest thing? And this is maybe number 2 on that list now.
And the uncontrollable thermostat, you don't think that there's some wonky shit happening in your haunted house?
Yeah, Freddy Krueger's trying to heat this place like it is a giant factory. Like, I don't know what he's doing to this house. So this is when his girlfriend, or Lisa, takes him to this abandoned power plant where Freddy
so he
used to
could
work.
use his psychic powers. Yeah. Now, is this part of the first one too, where we get a little backstory on his job at the factory?
I don't remember. I don't remember where he supposedly worked. I didn't know he took these children back to a factory, and this is like
30 kids or something like that, she said.
I don't remember if this is just stuff they did for the second movie or if this is talked about in the first.
Okay.
You have to apologize. I have all the movies. I should just watch them.
And give us an update,
Right, yes. So she's like, "Are you psychic?" And he's like, "No." And then we're back to Dreamland again. Like this, are there more dreams or less dreams than in Slumber Party Massacre? I don't know. Or should we just call them even?
She does dream a lot. She does dream a lot.
Anyway, this is when he wakes up in the middle of the night. It's still, again, he's so sweaty, standing over his little sister who is sleeping, like, and she's like, "What time is it?" And he's like, "It's really late. Go to bed." And then we see that he has the glove on his hand.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He realizes, so this was before he has this nightmare, he's trying to stay up. This is when he's drinking Coca-Cola and having those stay-up pills. I think that's why he wasn't actually able to kill her, because he wasn't all the way in his REM sleep.
All right. I mean, it is
Because
the 80s.
otherwise...
I don't know why he's not just going straight for Jolt Cola. Why he's like,
oh yeah, why the
messing around
heck?
with
Yeah.
Coke.
I think he was trying to stay awake, and then Freddy still came in, and that's why he was able to kind of tuck his sister back into bed with his claw hand instead of clawing her dead, which would have been sad.
That would have been super sad, because I'm not saying the movie would have been over then, but his parents may have suddenly started paying attention.
Yeah, I was
going to
say they may have, little red flag there when the sister slashed. In the morning.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
The parakeet explodes, and now you've murdered your sister.
Something's wrong with the toaster, and now your sister's dead.
This is the craziest damn thing I've ever seen. My little girl is cut to ribbons in this bed. Is it hot in here?
Cut to ribbons.
So this is the scene where in the lunchroom, his friend delivers all of his lines with a mouthful of food. And also, this is kind of important too, because later his friend is not at this party. And I was even I'll bet he explained why in the lunchroom, but I couldn't understand a goddamn word he was
had
saying.
mumble mouth. Yeah, because you're right. The friend is home in bed with rubber sheets. Did you notice his friend had rubber sheets?
I did not notice that.
Yes.
Guy's got a bedwetting problem, you're saying? Maybe that's why the dad was so upset. "You're not pissing the bed in there again, are you?" "I'm your father. Let me in." I gotta hose down the sheets again. So this is all like, a big lead up to this big party.
Right.
And
Party at Lisa's.
yep, pink tablecloths. Like they put fancy tablecloths on all the little tables here.
Was it her birthday or something? I don't think so. I think it was
Nobody
just
says
like
happy
a party.
birthday.
Yeah. There is a cake though.
Oh.
Because that's when she goes for the knife, remember?
Maybe it's like a Memorial Day party. I don't know.
I don't know.
You're really thinking about this one though. You're like,
Yeah.
Memorial
Because
Day.
I was trying to remember if there was like a happy birthday written on the cake or anything. Or
You're like, the weather was nice, but maybe they are in California. I don't know. So the dad, of course, is working the grill, and he's like playing big band music. Like they do comment how his music taste is terrible. Jesse's just not into it, so he goes into the cabana. Come on with this.
wait. No, he tells her. So now the party is, does Jesse go in the cabana before or after the parents go to bed?
I think it's around the same time that they
Okay,
kind of shuffle
okay.
off to bed because they miss all the fun because
The
they're
parents.
having a
Oh,
little
yeah.
session in the cabana
Right.
while I guess the dad's like just leaving or grilling up the last burger. I don't know.
Yeah, when he's done with the party, the cabana is the place. I thought it was like the outdoor restroom, which I guess is essentially what a cabana could be.
It could be if you just shit in the corner of your cabana. My cabana, it's just a bathroom. You do not want to go in there. This is a mess.
My cabana. I didn't realize. I thought cabana meant like outhouse.
You thought it was
I
like
thought they were-
banyo? You were like, all right, I guess that means bathroom. I want you to be at this party. And Lisa to be like, who pissed all over the floor of my cabana? And you just duck behind the grill.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a fancy house. I didn't know.
No one, cabana, it's a Spanish word for bathroom, right? I thought it was weird that I couldn't find a toilet, so I improvised.
But I figured,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, so he goes in this cabana and he's like putting his shirt on or taking off. Who knows what he's doing right now? He's never got one on. And she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "Nah, I'm just not, I'm not feeling
Yeah,
this."
he literally tells her, "I'm gonna leave. I'm just not into this. This is not my jam."
Yeah. Did I not tell you I almost murdered my sister last night?
Yeah.
Not the best time for me to be cutting loose at a party.
Right, exactly. I got some shit on my mind. This isn't my jam. And she really wants to get to the heart of, well, why don't you talk to me? If you talk to me about this, we could figure it out. And at first he's like, you don't want to mess with me. You don't want to mess. And she's like, no, I'm it's very sweet. I'm going to stick it in.
Wait a second. She basically does kind of say that in not so many words. Oh, that's great.
She says, I'm going to stick around, is what I meant to say.
Right.
But, once she sort of says, I care about you, they kind of start making out. He motorboats her for a long time.
It's really funny. Like, it's not funny because it's clearly like this actress was like, I am not going to show my boobs on camera.
Right,
and they're like,
right.
well, okay, so maybe we could have the shirt over the nips, but his hands are also on the boobs. Like
The side of the boobs squeezing them together, but then his face is just going to be like, he's
Right,
motorboating her, basically.
Like he's just moving his face around. Like it's kind of funny. But you know what? Listen, they're high school kids, and she
High
seems
school
into
action,
it. So
right?
whatever.
It's high school action. So let's let it be.
Right.
And it's on the cabana floor. They're doing all this on the floor of the
Yep.
cabana.
Anyone could walk in to use the bathroom at any moment. But he gets a little freaked out. He's not freaked out at first. He's kind of into this, but
Oh, well, I
suddenly-
would freak out too when your giant nasty tongue comes out of your mouth.
giant, like, I don't know, Freddy tongue. Like, I don't know if Freddy was like, I gotta get some of this. Like, let's
Yeah.
do the tongue thing. I'm not gonna do the glove this time. Let's do the tongue action.
Right.
And maybe I can have a little bit of fun. That's when he freaks out and like crawls away and runs away, runs out of the cabana
Right.
to go to his best friend's bedroom. I like how his friend at one point it's like, how'd you get in here?
Yeah.
I kind of had that same question.
Because he did just, he's like, I need you. You got to help me.
Yeah.
You just, You gotta help me. And at first his friend's like, I don't know. But then he confesses everything to him. He's like, I killed the coach. I almost killed my sister. And then this cabana thing. And then he says, because again, we don't know if these are dreams, and he's seeing Freddy, and Freddy's like convincing him to do these things in the dream. But he tells Grady, no, it's inside of me. Freddy's inside of me, and you need to watch me. You need to not fall asleep and watch me. And if I do anything, you need to stop me. And if I try to leave, you can't let me.
This is one thing that happens in every single one of these movies. Like the protagonist at one point's like, I need to go to sleep. Now, sometimes it's like, I need to go into the dreamland to kill Freddy. And other times it's like, I just need to take a nap. Can you just stay up and watch me? And it never works out. Like every time the other character ends up falling asleep.
Falling asleep, yeah. It's unreliable. I thought so too. I'm like, this Grady guy is not gonna.
No.
He can't swallow his food. You think he's gonna stay awake and watch you sleep?
He is not concerned really with you at all. Like if you're gonna do this, Lisa is the one to turn to. Like Lisa is into it. She's into you. She will stay up. She's not gonna fall asleep like this dope because he flips through 5 channels and is like, well, nothing on. Time to go to bed.
Yeah, guess I'm snoozing. Mm-hmm.
Right. Right after he goes to sleep, Jesse wakes up and he's like, it's happening again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And these are some great effects, I believe. Maybe you don't agree.
As it starts to happen, yeah. First you think it's happening. Oh, I'm getting sweaty again. We know you sweat a lot. We get it.
It's happening. It's so hot in your room.
But then it starts with his arm, right? Isn't that where
it starts with his hand? Like the knives come out of his fingers, which is a really cool effect, and his arm starts to get ripped up, and then literally Freddy just emerges from his body
and from his stomach. It's like a birth. What happens in Jesse's mouth? There's like an eyeball.
When he opens it, and you see an eye looking around like, what's happening here?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily an eye attached to Freddy's face or anything. It's just this.
No, I think we're supposed to think it's Freddy like looking out like, here I come, everybody just get ready. Okay. But yeah, he basically kind of just like gives birth to a grown man.
Yeah.
In a sweater Freddy. And a hat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And Grady's like, oh shit. The door's locked because when Freddy's around, he can lock doors.
Well, no, this kid, when he goes up, when he's explaining this to him, which I thought was very interesting, Jesse walks over and locks the door to his bedroom. Oh. And for some reason, this kid can't get it unlocked. His parents are outside, and Freddy just totally knifes this kid. Mm-hmm. The knives come through the door. Like this kid's parents sees knives and blood coming out of this door. And a little bit of
drippy blood. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they call the cops.
But suddenly it's just like Jesse's all covered in blood.
Yeah.
And he's looking at Freddy in the mirror. He's again got the glove on. He looks over. Freddy's in the mirror like, oh, I killed him. Nobody's going to think it was me. How does he get out of here? Does he just like climb out the window?
He jumps out the window. Okay. Yeah, I think he jumps out the window. Yeah. He's like, I gotta jet. I gotta go. And he goes back to Lisa's.
Yeah, Lisa's like very large. Like she's got a nice house, I guess. She's got a nice pool and everything. I don't know where they are. They're apparently in like a living room where doors can be locked so you can't get into the living room.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's fancy.
Yeah, it's a big space. He confesses to her, like, I killed the gym teacher, and now I killed my friend. I just
killed Grady, right.
That's why
She's like, are you okay? He's dripping in blood.
Yeah.
She's got information to share with him, though.
Right.
She did some of her own research on Freddy within the diary.
I like how she's got the diary. Like at the end of this room cleaning, she's like, can I just hold on to this? This is fascinating.
Yeah. I'm going to just keep reading this. But she tells him, no. Freddy is feeding on your fear. That's why he exists, is because you're afraid. Because he's like, he owns me. I can't, I am him, he is me.
Right. He's inside of me, and he's trying to get out again, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
I don't want to hurt,
Right. Lisa starts reading to him from the diary. I like how he just like falls behind a table, and then suddenly Freddy jumps up and it's yeah, you can't hurt me, like it's me now, your boyfriend's dead or something. He can't seem to kill her because I guess there's still enough Jesse in there.
Yes, and he does chase her for a little bit and bites her leg.
Oh yeah. Also, during this scene, I was like, why aren't you using the hand with the knives all over it, Freddy? Because he keeps grabbing her leg, pulling her back, she gets away,
Yeah.
pulling her back, gets away, and then just like it's a turkey leg.
Yes. And when he does use the hand, it is to grab her and she gets away. So his hand almost like gets, and I think she hits him over the head at one point. Maybe not.
Don't know.
She does try to fight him a little.
Fighting back. Yeah, she's doing her best job of fighting back, but eventually.
And her mom and dad can hear stuff going on upstairs. They're locked in their room now. They can't get out.
What about these looky-loo friends? They're just like peeking in the window watching.
Oh my God!
Like,
How
around.
creepy is that? Because all doors are suddenly locked. Right. By the way, what about at the party? How all of a sudden the hot dogs are on fire and the beer is exploding and the pool's heating up.
The pool's actually bubbling. Like these kids should be cooked in this pool, but it just seems to be like it's kind of toasty in here right now. I wonder what's going on. The beers are exploding.
And the hot dogs are spontaneously combusting. She keeps encouraging him in the beginning to fight back with Freddy, right? To fight back, don't let him take you. Oh, she does stab him at one point.
She stabs him, but
it's like
nothing's
a soft,
happening.
It's like she's a soft stab.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And then he talks to her in Jesse's voice. Yeah. And this is when he throws her against the wall. And then he like jumps out the window, and now Freddy's just part of the party.
Now he's in the party.
It's just like kids fenced in an electric fence. What is happening when this one kid touches the fence and it's all zappy? And
it might be.
What's going on? So it's
what about the one brave kid, the mediator, who comes out and is like, "Tell us what you want. Just stay calm, Mr. Crazy burned up claw hand man."
He even says, he's like, "Listen, nobody's gonna hurt you." What are you talking about? He just killed 8 of your friends. Nobody's gonna hurt him.
And Freddy creepily says something like, "You're all my children now."
You're all my children now.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Mm-hmm. Her dad has a shotgun, but he just walks down and misses.
He's a terrible aim. Yeah, terrible shot.
I think he hits that cake. I think he destroyed her birthday cake.
I think he does. And even then, he's got to reload. He's like, dang. And that's when she blocks him. She doesn't want him to kill Freddy outright.
Still Jesse, I guess. Right. And this is when there are cornered teenagers, and Freddy just like walks away. He's like, I'll just walk through these bushes that burst into flames, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And
then burst into flames. Yeah, he just flames out.
So then
disappears. Lisa,
she wraps her ankle. I like how she wraps her ankle with teeth marks on it. So she goes back. This is the ending. This ending is pretty bad. I mean, you may have thought the whole thing was bad, but this ending is terrible. So she goes back to the abandoned electric factory where he used to work. I guess she's like, where would Jesse go? Here. I took him here on a date or something. I don't know. Then she's confronted by
the dogs
with human faces on them. Those
are so creepy. And even she's like,
she's even like, this is gross, but I guess I can just walk right by them. They seem to be chained up.
Yeah, strange looking dogs with these like kid faces. And there's a rat too with a crazy face on it.
That looks like a monster. Then a cat that's kind of a monster jumps out and eats the rat.
And then they all have the weird teeth.
Yeah. Freddy chases her into a corner. And is this Jessie? I don't know. She says that she loves it. Like, she basically kills Freddy with the power of love.
Yeah, it is kind of gross, though, when she says, like, I love you, and he's still Freddy, so she tries to make out with him.
When she's, like, hugging and giving, like, all smoochies on Freddy. I kind of love that, yeah.
And I'm like, that man's brain is exposed. Do you know that?
Like, you can feel the texture of his brain underneath his skin. Don't do that. At least make out with him with the hat on.
Right. Ooh.
Like, can you just put this hat on and I'll close my eyes?
Yeah.
So then he like falls down, like he falls to his knees and he's like, no, I'm Freddy.
Yeah,
and then fires all over the place, kind of burns him up, like kind of burns the Freddy off of Jesse, basically.
Yeah, literally the Freddy fries off of Jesse.
Yeah. Oh, Freddy fries.
Yeah, you like that? Then a sad, ashy Jesse emerges.
And that's it. And that's it. Because I was like, at the end of this movie, and now it's like the next day, whatever, they're reunited. That's adorable. So at the end of this movie, it's kind of like the beginning again.
Oh, yeah.
Bus shows up. Mm-hmm. He leaves his house. A whole new lease on life, apparently.
Well, he's got these bandaged arms.
Arms are so... That was the thing where I was like, so wait, everything happened? Like
Yeah.
all those kids were dead at that party. We don't see his best friend on the bus or anything. So I'm like, well, that kid's dead. Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? Because he's so full of joy. And
Yeah, he even tells mom, like, I'm ready.
yeah,
I'm
his
ready to
mom's
go
even
back.
like,
Yeah.
have a great day at school. Why are you
Yeah.
taking the bus? Where's your car? Nobody asks that question. That was
Nobody,
my
yeah,
question.
where is the car? I know. Why are we letting him take the bus?
The bus again starts freaking out. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, he's flipping out. And I love how Lisa's even like, fucking relax, dude.
Yeah,
Come
like, it's
on."
all right. It's all right. Yeah.
And this friend, this is how the movie ends. This friend who has no
She
personality.
don't even have her name. She has no name. Yeah.
I do what her name is. She's barely a character. This movie ends with her being like, guys, school's awesome, or whatever nonsense she says. And Freddy's clawed hand bursts out of her chest. That's the end.
There we go.
Can we say that the movie does end with the song sang in Lady in White, and I was a little bit scared.
Oh.
That movie scared me so much.
Lady in White?
Yes.
Yeah. Lady in White is a scary one.
I can't listen to. Did you ever see A Dream Walking? Well, I did without being terrified. So yeah, that is how this movie ends. Or this is a dream. Who knows what's happening? But guess what? We know Freddy will be back in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which has nothing to do with this one. Like every movie after this kind of ignores that this was a movie.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what? I'm going to give you my take. My take is, first of all, you don't remember the first one if you saw it out of the corner of your eye while doing Mad Libs on a porch. Not sure, maybe. This is my second favorite Nightmare movie, and it's second only after the first one.
oh.
I like this a lot. Like I said earlier before we started recording, after this, it becomes very cookie cutter, very much like, here's a group of teenagers. Now we're going to kill them one by one. Every movie after this follows that, and this, at least I think, is trying to do something different. Like, this is a different horror movie. It's not really scary, but it's not really about Freddy. It's kind of about this
Jesse
kid,
and his, yeah,
like trying to be possessed, and I don't know. There's a lot going on in here that I appreciate more and more. This is probably the one that I would return to more than any other one because it's a pretty breezy light watch. And
yeah.
That's it. Those are my thoughts. But why don't you go ahead and let me
It was
know?
light. I really gave it, like, Barrett had asked me what I thought, and first I went, man, lukewarm. Like, I'm maybe have the little head sweats, right?
Sure.
I'm not. It's not 97 degrees.
No,
But-
your baseball helmet lamp isn't melting.
No, yeah, and my record albums are melting all around me.
I did kind of like that effect of the record album, just like drooping
Just
slightly.
drooping, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's really hot.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the actor's performance or it's Freddy himself, but yeah, it made me appreciate the silliness of Slumber Party 2 and think,
Okay.
maybe that's the case. It just, this, maybe it's because it was all sequels, but this year of horror for us just wasn't, it was very lukewarm to me. Although I did like that Mary Lou one.
Yeah.
That we did.
That's fair.
But, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, I didn't totally hate it. And maybe because it was a sequel and not knowing the whole broad spectrum of the Freddy. But yeah, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. So I felt very meh about it.
Okay. That's fair.
Okay.
And that's kind of your wrap of Slumber Party Massacre 2 too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
It's kind of the same feeling.
Yeah.
But I do have to say I like that this one made you appreciate that one a little more,
did.
because
It
if I'm
did.
going to pick one of these three, it's always going to be
It's
Slumber
going to be
Party
Slumber
Massacre
Party,
2
yeah.
every time.
Slumber Party. And now I could see why. Yeah. Same
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Do you have a recommendation because of this movie?
I do. So I just recently finished the whole series because I think the series just ended. I don't know if you've watched it yet. That Lovecraft Country on HBO.
I don't even know what that is.
Really
no,
good.
No.
It's really good.
Okay.
It's I guess it's sort of loosely based off of some of Lovecraft's stuff, and it's really, I thought, really well done. It's got monsters and witchcraft and horror, and at one point, like in this movie where the Freddy comes out, the there's a transformation of one of the characters where it's one character, but then another one bursts out of it. It's really good. You would really like it. Lovecraft Country.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
I think
Very
it's
cool.
on HBO. I wish I
Okay.
could give you more of an. I thought you would have heard of it, so I was like, oh, he'll fly
I have
on
not
that.
heard it. No, I haven't heard of
Yeah,
it.
because I kept it in mind for this, and I just saw the last one, the season, and Sunday I think was the last of the season, the last episode. And I kept thinking, I'm going to recommend this show for one of these movies that we watch for Horror Month, and here we go. Got it out there before we're done. Yeah,
right under the wire. You're like, whoops, last chance to do this.
Here it is. Boom.
All right, very cool.
How about for you?
Mine is a recommendation that if anybody likes this movie, they probably already know of this and have probably already seen it. But it's a documentary from 2019 called
Like
Scream Queen.
Oh.
And it's a documentary about this actor, Mark Patton.
Oh.
Because this guy had some issues, and it all comes from this movie.
Really? The actor that... Oh, that's why you said
yes.
earlier you know this guy.
Yeah, this movie kind of killed this guy's career.
Oh.
He was a closeted gay actor at the time. He did some Broadway stuff. He did Come Back to the Five and Dine, Jimmy Dean.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He did the Broadway show and then was in the movie with Cher. And they kept... Like, he got this part, and it was such a big thing, and he was very excited. And the script rewrites kept getting gayer and gayer. And at one point, it was kind of like they were really trying to out this kid, or at least he thought they were trying to out him and everything.
In this movie?
Yes. And so much stuff. Like, they kept rewriting stuff, like lines like, he's inside me, and he's coming, and, like, all this stuff. And they kept piling it on, or at least this is what he sort of thought.
His interpretation, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really great because the documentary is, again, about his entire life. And it's kind of fun because he, like, reunites with the cast. And he really blames the writer, doesn't blame the director so much. But he reunites with these people. At one point in the documentary, he, like, confronts this writer and stuff. And they sit down and have this, like, they sort of hash it out. And he then talks about later on, like, how he has come to terms with the fact that this is what he's famous for, and now kind of embraces it. Like, you can find this guy at conventions and yeah, so it's a really, really great documentary.
What's it called?
Scream Queen.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's really fun because, like, then it shows him, like, he is like a guest, like he'll open drag shows and stuff, and at this one drag show, it's really great because, like, the crowd gets him to do the little dance that he does in the thing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. And he, you know, he'll, like, introduce the movie when it's showing places and everything. So he kind of embraced it, but it sounds like because his boyfriend at the time died of AIDS, and, like, it really goes into, like, how rough a time it was in American history to be a gay man at this time. And again, we were so young, like, I knew it was horrible, but it's really interesting to hear of somebody who was, like, in their 20s at that time and going through this. So, yeah. So it's really fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So check it out. So now, let's put these sequels behind us.
Close
Let's
the door.
Put them to
Close
bed.
those sequels.
Put them to bed. I don't know if I ever want to watch another sequel.
I'm
but,
good for a while. I'm good.
Yeah. At least a year.
Yeah.
So now, patrons, you may not know this, but if you bump up your patronage above that $5 tier, there's another tier there. And if you pledge at that tier, you get to assign us a movie to watch once a year. We'll give you a slot. We'll give you a month. And every single time that month rolls around, you pick a movie.
You tell us.
So now, this is our good friend and show supporter Zeke's choice. And who could forget his choices of Cobra? He started us doing Sly's Giving. Like, without Cobra, we wouldn't have started this. After that, he had us watch Tapeheads. And last year, Amazon Women on the Moon.
Whew.
I know. So now, he's chosen a movie that I only knew by name. And what a crazy name it is. The name of this movie is called Hell Comes to Frogtown.
To Frogtown.
And it's a movie about literal frog people.
Oh,
So-
Zeke.
It stars the wrestler, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Rowdy Piper? Oh. Oh.
And I have no idea what the movie's about. Like, apparently he has a run-in with some frog people. I don't know. I can't wait to watch
Sounds amazing.
it. Very
Sounds
excited
amazing.
about this. So,
Always with the spicy picks, Zeke. Thank
not
you.
a horror movie, but sort of an action movie. But man, if there are frog people, I can't think of anything more horrifying.
I mean, if there's Rowdy Piper trying to act, I can't think of anything more frightening. Awesome. Fabulous.
Yeah, and I know that we've talked about what's the John Carpenter movie that They Live. I know we've talked about They Live. That's another Roddy Piper joint, and I know we'll get to that at some point. But I like that this is our entry
This is
to
our entry.
any wrestler in a movie that we're covering.
I'm pleased.
So everybody, thank you again for listening. Go to our
Yes.
website. That way you
Please.
can find all of our links there. You can find our Patreon. You can find our
All
whatever
the
other
social
things-
medias. Bye.
He's inside me, and he wants to take me again.
Instead.
I like how all of your party/sleepover stories involve Mad Lib.
It's such a fun party game.
Jamie, come on in. We're watching Nightmare on Elm Street. Nope. Happy to play Mad Libs by myself on the porch in the dark. It's your funerals, ladies. You're going to be having nightmares later. I'm just going to be chuckling, thinking about these adverbs.
Happy Halloween, fuckers.